We have moved inside the 600,000 square foot facility that houses Rogue HQ. Thanks for being with us here today, everybody. I am Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. The women are up first here in event number 7. And we have two big battles playing out here on the leaderboard. On top of the overall standings, it's Tia Toomey. She has a 6-point lead on Sarah Sigmundsdottir. And then behind them, we have a host of the usual suspects. Annie Thorisdottir, Kristen Holta, Katrin Davidsdottir, and Laura Horvath. But the battle that really counts is between 15th and 16th right now. That's Rachel Garibay and Corinne Schrum. Garibay right now would get the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
And it's been amazing how that lead between those two women has gone back and forth multiple times. They've been within 2 to 8 points repeatedly, and we just happen to be ending up right now with Garibay sitting on top by a mere 2 points, which is nothing. We're gonna see. We might see another switch.
Yeah, these next two events will go a long way towards determining who winds up in Madison, Wisconsin. Here's a look at the next challenge. It is the individual snatch and press presented by RP Strength. 12-minute time cap and just 2 movements.
And I just love what it is. We see those dumbbell snatches, pretty heavy for the ladies, 70 pounds. But the key to this is going to be those deficit handstand push-ups. It's a 2-inch deficit, and we have 3 rounds of 9. So that's a good number of deficit strict handstand push-ups.
There are 2 heats for the women. This first heat will feature the 2 women who are trying to lock up that invite to the CrossFit Games. Rachel Garibay, who currently has that invite, she will be in lane 3. The woman who is just 2 points back of her, Corinne Schrum, will be in lane number 8. For more on Corinne, let's go down to the competition floor and Rory McKernan.
Sean, Bill, I actually got a chance to speak to both athletes. Neither of them seemed overly confident, but it's Corinne Schrum who seemed very nervous about the event. She told me that from the get-go, you can expect her to do fast singles on those handstand push-ups. We've seen that strategy work out for athletes who are less strong in that movement, but we'll see how it plays out here when a ticket to the CrossFit Games is on the line.
Thank you, Ro, and the women of the first of 2 heats are getting set to take the floor. Corinne Schrum, just leaving your view on the right side of the screen. And she and Rachel Garibay have been swapping that invite back and forth now for the last 3 events.
You know, and when you talk about deficit handstand push-ups, if you're an athlete that has long arms, that's not playing to your favor. So, you know, again, if you're going to go singles, that's good. Make sure that you're being very smart about it. This is going to be a tough event for her.
Meanwhile, Rachel Garibay, she has faced this kind of test before. She is one of just a handful of athletes in this heat who have games experience. She was there last year on Team Don't Stop, helped them finish 6th overall.
And I really think that that's going to play to her favor. She's not afraid of those deficit handstand push-ups because at some point she had to carry the team or be part of the team and be able to do that movement. So I think this is a great position for her to again try to get some points.
This has been a spectacular setting here the last couple of days. The outdoor stadium was a blast, and the indoor stadium here has been just filled to capacity for about the last hour as people got in here early to get a good seat for the final 2 events for the individuals.
I mean, look at the stands. Absolutely packed. And that's been something that's been so fun to watch across the board and with all these events. And that's why I keep saying it has such a games feel. I mean, that's a packed house.
The tennis stadium at the Step Up Center had a special atmosphere. The Coliseum in Madison, Wisconsin, that has a great atmosphere. And this one here is starting to develop a feel of its own as well. It really it's special.
And to think about it, we're just inside of a warehouse right now.
It is amazing what Katie and Bill Henniger and their 600 teammates here at Rogue Fitness were able to do with this facility. First heat of individual event 7 for the women. The second to last event here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational is underway. It's 3 rounds of those 20 dumbbell snatches at 70 pounds and then 9 strict parallel handstand push-ups.
And you can see some different styles on what these women are deciding to do and how they're going to do this. We got to remember there's a lot of shoulder that's involved in this. I put shoulder balls on there because this is all just about having big bowling ball shoulders and having that strength. But the main point is going to be planning ahead. yeah, you are going to start right away, and the numbers aren't that gigantic. It's 3 rounds of 20 and 9, but break up early so that you're able to finish strong in the end. Plan ahead.
87 total repetitions in this event, and then one more for crossing the finish line. And it's Corinne Schrum, who is trying to track down Rachel Garibay, who is first done with her dumbbell snatches.
Now see, Garibay is taking that rest on the floor. That's a lot of time that's wasted. So what I'm hoping is that she's going to use that to her advantage, because look at Schrum. That was a very, we've got 9 of those 3 different times. That's a tough one. I think she came out a little hot with those dumbbells. She needs to be very calm, and she really needs to recover now before she gets back up on that, up on those parallettes.
And she received a no rep because of her body position on the wall was too arched. She has to stay straight up and down, and that is one good rep for Corinne Schrum. And now some more athletes have joined her on the strict parallel handstand push-ups, and Rachel Garibay is one of them. Garibay is rifling through these, and she has taken a lead now through 26 of the 87 scored repetitions here.
Now, even though Garibay on the left in the green top is moving very well in those deficit strict handstand push-ups, she needs to make sure that she doesn't push that limit too much. Take your rest, take your time. The only person that she's really racing is Schrum. So be very smart about what you need to do. Don't push it, don't push yourself over that limit.
Schrum is falling off the lead pace. She was the first woman to the wall. Rachel Garibay is now back onto the dumbbell. 29 repetitions per round. Garibay on round number 2.
So Garibay knows that she's able to make up a lot of time on the handstand push-up. So that's why she's taking the rest here on the dumbbells. Very smart move, especially when you know where everyone else is. So when she came off the wall, she saw that everyone else was just standing there. She knew she was in the lead in this heat.
In the purple is Lauren Seaver, and she has an outside shot of possibly challenging Garibay for that invite to the CrossFit Games. Seaver has 70 points. Garibay with 118, so 48 points she needs to make up. So she'd have to really beat Garibay by a wide margin in order to make up that deficit here in this event. And now Lauren Seaver is on her dumbbell snatches.
And again, the difference here, you can see the difference in the techniques. Garibay in the green top, just opting to go for singles, really letting the weight of that dumbbell come down and stopping or trying to rest, take the time under tension off her body. Seaver in the purple top was going singles or touch and go, switching in the air. There she goes again. She found that rhythm, trying to hang in there with that one.
Meanwhile, Corinne Schrum has yet to get through her first set of 9 strict parallel handstand push-ups. And she is really struggling with that rep. So it's looking like she's going to fall off the pace here and not be able to earn that invite to the CrossFit Games as Rachel Garibay continues to churn away on these dumbbell snatches.
And this is the problem with Schrum. The fact that she's failing at this point, the only thing you can really do to make the rep now is you need to rest. But you know you're in a race. You're 2 points behind. You need to make something happen. So that right there was 2 reps that she failed. She needs to almost stop moving for about a whole minute just to regain herself to be able to get 1 rep. Going rep after rep is just going to waste a bunch of time and energy.
There's Garibay on her second set of 9 strict parallel handstand push-ups. There's a 2-inch deficit for the women. Corinne Schrum, who is the first woman through her initial set of dumbbell snatches, her 20 reps of 70 pounds, got through that first, but she has fallen way back here. Now finally through those 9 reps and back to the dumbbell to begin round 2 as Garibay is closing out round number 2. Once she hits 58, she will be done with 2 rounds and will be on to round number 3.
So you can see Schrum had a lot of rest with those handstand push-ups, so she's able now to just grab that dumbbell and really get it moving. I mean, it's great that she's doing that. That's huge. But that's not where the race is for her. The race is on those deficit handstand push-ups.
There is a minimum work requirement for this event. It is 1 complete round, so Schrum is clear of that. So she will stay in the competition regardless of where she finishes now in this event as Rachel Garibay moves back to the dumbbell to begin round 3. She is all by herself in the lead, looking to lock down that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Margot Alvarez is technically in the lead for that, but she has said, and she said it here during the competition, that she will decline that invite and pass it down to the next person. That next person would be Rachel Garibay. She is through 63 of the 87 scored repetitions. Margot Alvarez, with the most games experience in this heat. Wow. 6 career appearances at the CrossFit Games, and her best finish was in 2015 when she took 9th place.
So you can see the toll that the shoulder events have been taken on some of these ladies. I mean, we know that she's strong. We know what she can do. We've seen her perform. The fact that here she is and just basically standing, but she understands that. She's like, if I'm failing, I need to rest. I have to recover.
Corinne Schrum, meanwhile, at the bottom of your screen is onto her second round of 9 deficit handstand push-ups. Remember, there's a 2-inch deficit between the parallettes and those mats. They have to be strict. She immediately fails her first rep. Garibay continues to work on her final set of dumbbell snatches. 87 scored repetitions, so at 88, she'll move back to the wall. Katie Trombetta is in second place, but she is 9 reps back. Holly Henderson is now 12 reps back. Lauren Seaver on the left of your screen, again, has an outside chance of catching Garibay, but Seaver's going to have to kick it into another gear here, pass Garibay in this event, and then also beat her in the final event.
I really like the tempo that Garibay has. I mean, it's very relaxed. She's out in the front, sure, and that's great, but she isn't over-pressuring herself to try to push too far. She knows that she can make up her time on the handstand push-ups, and it really has been working well for her, and she seems really confident on those handstand push-ups.
12-minute time cap here, so a little more than 4 minutes to go before we hit that. We mentioned Margot Alvarez. She's still in her first round. The minimum work requirement is 1 complete round. So if she doesn't get through that, she'll be out of the competition, and then the whole thing of her declining that invite won't matter.
Wow, still just struggling.
She's only completed 1. But Garibay inching close to that 87 mark, and then she'll have to run across the finish line. But this result is really going to help her lock down that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. She came in with just a 2-point lead over Corinne Schrum, and Schrum is way back in the pack here in this first of 2 heats. Garibay is done, and Rachel Garibay takes the first heat. And you might want to start addressing the envelope with her invitation in it, because this result is going to go a long way towards helping her secure that. 8:56.40 seconds. And Corinne Schrum is struggling with these strict handstand push-ups. We approach the 10-minute mark. 12-minute time cap. Now, Margot Alvarez came in 11th place overall, but right now Margot has yet to get through her first round. And that would mean that Rachel Garibay would be the top woman in the standings as far as the invite to the CrossFit Games is concerned.
And you see her keep messing with that right shoulder, keep trying to stretch it out. Wow, she's not coming out at the bottom at all.
Margot Alvarez, the 6-time Games veteran, running into some problems here as Lauren Seaver continues to work. Seaver's got to hurry up and just keep Garibay as close as possible as Katie Trombetta is in. At least Holly Henderson as the leader on the floor. That woman, Lauren Sieber, currently sits in 4th place, just a rep behind Henderson. There is Holly Henderson, 3-time regionals athlete who was 21st in 2014 as an individual at the old South Central Regional. She is done, and Holly Henderson with time to spare is across the finish line. Sieber struggling to lock out that rep. She is done, and Lauren Sieber, that's big for her. They're trying to stay alive here in that hunt for the invite for the CrossFit Games. We're at the 40-second to go mark. Corinne Schrum is going to stay alive, but she's going to fall way back of Rachel Garibay in the standings.
We got to think about this. Garibay had a great run, so she probably is going to do decent even into the next heat. All those ladies in that next heat are going to be able to do deficit handstand push-ups. The vast majority, I'm talking the vast majority, 90% of them. That's really bad news for Schrum.
Colleen Lehane gets herself across the finish line with a couple seconds to spare. Margot Alvarez is still struggling, as is Corinne Schrum, but for Alvarez, that may be it, as she did not get through one complete round. This may be the last time that we see Margot Alvarez on a competitive floor.
Well, we knew it was going to be a tough one. We knew it was going to be all about the shoulders, and if you had the ability to do those deficit handstand push-ups, then this was definitely going to be an event for you. We knew we had that battle between Schrum and Garibay, and Schrum came out hard and fast on the dumbbell snatch, knowing that she was going to have to go singles on the handstand push-ups, but even the singles were going to be rougher. Garibay had absolutely no problem at all with those handstand push-ups. In fact, she was able to go, for the most part, unbroken there and took her rest through the sets of 20 where she was doing slow, deliberate singles on the snatches. Kept a great tempo all the way through, and man, what a great finish for her.
Rachel Garibay, as Margot Alvarez failed to complete a round. And Garibay really won this thing right here.
She did. I mean, it was amazing. And it just goes to show how detrimental those deficit handstand push-ups could be for these ladies.
Rachel Garibay putting on a late charge here as she saves one of her best efforts for last with one event to go. 8:56.40 seconds, the only woman to go sub 9, and she is with Rory McKernan.
In the warm-up area, I asked you about this, and you were very, very modest. Were you just messing with me?
I was not messing around. In the warm-up area, you're with a big group of women, just elite athlete. They're in the high level. So they're warming up and they're just snatching 70 pounds easy, and you're like, that's a little intimidating. You know what I mean? But overall, I know what I'm capable to do. Just kind of focus on myself. Don't worry about what others are doing. To me, it's like, if you want to go fast, do you. I ease into it. So I love handstand push-ups. They're kind of my thing. I can knock them out. It was just the dumbbells. I knew that were going to be a little bit of an issue for me.
You did fantastic. Congratulations.
Rachel Garibay all smiles, and she should be, as she took one big step closer to Madison, Wisconsin with that effort. One heat remains in the individual snatch and press presented by RP Strength. 12-minute time cap, and it's that second movement that we've seen be a problem, but I don't think it's going to slow many of these women down.
You know, I think the vast majority are going to be able to do that, but it's a strict deficit handstand push-up. You don't get to use your legs like you normally do, and you can see the pads. They're holding onto those parallettes, and their head has to touch that, so that's extra distance these ladies have to do. It's a tough movement, and we can see just how damaging it could be, even to someone as good as Margot Alvarez.
10 athletes in the second and final heat of event 7, and the battle for the overall lead is right in the middle of the floor. Tia Toomey comes in with 496 points. She is only 6 points up on Sarah Sigmundsdottir. And Tia Toomey, we know what she is capable of, and she has certainly lived up to expectations.
Absolutely. I mean, she just is so confident about what she can do. She's got that laser focus, knowing what she needs to do, and knows her pace. That's what a champion really has. But what's been fun to watch is how Sarah has changed her whole attitude from I'm just happy to be here, big smile on my face, I want to win, to I'm here to do some damage. Look at my face. I'm not here to play. I'm here to win.
Sarah Sigmundsdottir certainly has looked dialed in all weekend long. And she is just 6 points back at Tia Toomey for the overall lead in this event. Event number 7, the second to last event of the 2019 Rogue Invitational for the individuals is underway. The time to beat belongs to Rachel Garibay, 8 minutes 56.40 seconds.
Now we know how damaging and how tough this is going to be on the athlete's shoulders. We saw what it did in that first heat. And it's really all going to come down to how fatigued you're going to be when you get back to the wall to do those deficit handstand push-ups. So you really want to try to break those up soon. Do the best you can to manage that so you're able to really finish hard in that last heat, in that last round, rather than blow it all out in the first round.
Sarah Sigmundsdottir is just ahead of Tia Toomey. Danny Spiegel, meanwhile, is through her first round of 20 dumbbell snatches. Sarah's done first. Tia right behind her. The two of them will get to work on their first set of 9. There are 87 total repetitions in this event. 29 reps per round. Spiegel will break. She is your leader as Sarah Sigmundsdottir and Tia Toomey continue to work away. And a no rep for Sarah Sigmundsdottir as Tia Toomey is now in the lead. Toomey will break, Sigmundsdottir will break. Laura Horvath, meanwhile, came in 6th place overall. And for more on her, let's send it down to Rory McKernan.
Sean, in the warm-up area, Horvath's coach was asking all the wrong questions, like, what happens if my athlete doesn't meet the minimum work requirement? So we know that Laura Horvath, 2nd place at the CrossFit Games last year, has a tremendous work capacity. We also know that at regionals in past years, she's had tremendous difficulty with this movement. We'll see if she can pull it off now.
And to your point, Ro, we've seen this not just be a problem, but a detriment. The same type of thing happened in Dubai. I know she was dealing with some injury there, but what we saw was on a deficit handstand push-up movement, she just crumbled under that movement. So you're right. This is she's just gotta have to wait.
Tia Toomey is in front as Sarah Sigmundsdottir got a couple no reps on her first round of handstand push-ups, and now both are on to round 2. Toomey threw 40 of the 87 total reps in this event. Sigmundsdottir has fallen off the lead pace just a bit as it's now Katrin Davidsdottir and Danny Spiegel who are in the top 3. Annie Thorsdottir's 4th, and it's Carrie Pierce in 5th. Tia Toomey has the points lead at the Rogue Invitational with 496 total points. Sarah Sigmundsdottir coming into this event just 6 points back. And now Toomey is done as she starts to put some distance between herself and Sigmundsdottir. Second round of 9 deficit handstand push-ups. And Danny Spiegel is done with her second round of snatches.
And Spiegel has that gymnastic background. That's what she does. And when there is either a handstand walk or handstand push-up, she usually does pretty well. In Tia's favor, of these two athletes, she's a smaller athlete. So whenever you have a handstand push-up, especially a strict, the lighter you can be, the better. But with Danny Spiegel, she has so much experience in that handstand push-up. Look how much power that is. Look at that. This is
Spiegel
a good race
working through her
two.
second set. Tia Toomey getting set to get back on the wall. She has 4 remaining in her second set of 9. Katrin Davidsdottir is in 3rd place right now behind Danny Spiegel. And she has 5 to go as Tia Toomey has closed out round number 2.
And Katrin talked about it earlier. She didn't have the day she wanted yesterday, so today her whole goal was, I want to have a good event. I want to have another good event, and hopefully we end up having a decent day. She's doing that. She's playing to her plan and doing it just well.
She had an outstanding start in the biathlon. Tia Toomey, meanwhile, on her final set of 20 dumbbell snatches through 65 of the 87 reps. Carrie Pierce has moved into second ahead of Danny Spiegel. As Spiegel is working on her dumbbell snatches. About a rep behind Carrie Pierce.
Wow, and the way Danny is doing that, she's literally ripping that up off the ground. You see a lot of the other ladies are using their hips to drive that with their hips, that dip drive, just like that. Look at Tia. She's using her whole body to do the work rather than just trying to use her lat and her shoulder. Low back.
4 reps remain for Tia Toomey, who has never finished lower than 8th in this competition. Won the opening event and then won event 4, the last event on day number 1. And she's looking at maybe taking another event win here as she is well ahead of Rachel Garabay's pace. Garabay got through this event in 8 minutes, 56.40 seconds. Did that in heat number 1. Toomey with 9 reps to go before she'll cross the finish line.
Very smart the way she took that breath, got herself back up on the wall.
Meanwhile, Sarah Sigmundsdottir just began her 3rd round of dumbbell snatches. So Tia Toomey is going to put some distance between herself and Sarah Sigmundsdottir as far as the Rogue Invitational event win is concerned. 5 to go for Toomey. And she will break, and Toomey has plenty of time. 3 minutes to track down Rachel Garabay's top mark. Final rep for Toomey. And Tia Toomey takes event 7 in dominant fashion.
Man, that was amazing.
6:16.62 seconds. Carrie Pierce and Danny Spiegel were battling for second. Pierce has separated herself from Spiegel here on the handstand push-ups. Pierce is done, and she will take second place with a baseball slide across the finish line. At least Danny Spiegel all by herself in 3rd, but Catherine Davidsdottir's creeping up. Now Spiegel with 1 rep to go, and then she will cross the finish line. She blocks that one out. And Spiegel is done. And Danny Spiegel will take 3rd place in event 7. 7:09.25 seconds. The Sarah Sigmundsdottir, who at one point was dueling with Tia Toomey for the lead, has fallen way back in the pack here. And now she might be in danger of dropping out of second place as Catherine Davidsdottir is across. Now Brooke Wells is in. Wells will take 5th in the event. And Davidsdottir will take 4th. And meanwhile, Laura Horvath, at the bottom of your screen in the white shirt, the woman who finished 2nd at the CrossFit Games last year, has yet to complete 1 handstand push-up. Remember, the minimum work requirement is 1 full round. Now, Annie Thorisdottir is done, and she is in, and she's trying to gain ground on Sarah Sigmundsdottir and possibly leapfrog her for second, but Sigmundsdottir had a pretty big lead on Thorisdottir, but Thorisdottir is going to creep closer here with this result. Kristen Holta on the right is behind Sigmundsdottir right now. And Sarah is done, and Sarah is across. And Sarah Sigmundsdottir will take 7th place in the event. So Annie Thorisdottir will only pick up a handful of points on her. And Sigmundsdottir is looking to stay solidly in 2nd place overall. And her family, her parents looking on there in the blue shirts, her mother and father. And they have to be proud of what they've seen from their daughter as Christy Aramo comes across. 3 minutes to go before we hit the 12-minute time cap. And here's Kristen Holta. So that means for the next 3 minutes, Laura Horvath is just going to try to get a good rep here because she is yet to complete 1 deficit handstand push-up and is in danger of not meeting the minimum work requirement. We saw this happen to Margot Alvarez in the prior heat. 2 games veterans.
The nice thing is that she doesn't waste a whole lot of time trying to get for that push out. If the movement stops, she stops and comes off the wall, and that's what you want to do. If you're in this position, that's your best option, is out of that.
All the athletes and now all the spectators here just trying to get behind Laura Horvath and will her through one of these repetitions, and she's barely getting out of the bottom there.
Now, I know myself, if I was in that position, I would be doing everything I could to basketball my head off that mat. Most chiropractors around the world would say that's probably not the right thing to do. It's kind of what happens when you're a competitor. Sometimes you'll do whatever you need to do to make it happen. But I think in this certain situation, especially depending on what it's going to do, we already know she's going to the games. She already has her invite to the games. If you don't know yet as an athlete what you should be working on, and if this is the issue here, she should be doing handstand push-ups every day until the games hits, every single day.
If she's healthy, and this is an issue right now, you're right. You've got to be concerned about what's going to happen when she gets to Madison.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't want there to be, she did so great last year at the games, and there were handstand push-ups, and even in the Open last year, she did okay with the handstand event that was there. So I thought she was able to overcome that, but that was just regular handstand push-ups. These are deficit and they're strict, and that's not a little bit hard. That's exponentially harder than doing regular handstand push-ups. So she definitely has her work cut out for her, because if these ever come up in the games, which it's almost becoming a standard thing to be doing deficit handstand push-ups, or at least strict handstand push-ups, it's something that needs to be fixed, because it's terrible seeing such a good athlete being held out by one movement like this.
30 seconds to go before we hit the time cap, and now Laura Horvath is most likely going to leave the floor without getting one good rep and not meet the minimum work requirement. The crowd trying to get her to try one more time, but and it's just not going to happen for the fittest woman from Hungary. And she is done and will not get through one round. So for the second straight heat, a games veteran fails to complete one full round of 20 dumbbell snatches and 9 strict parallel handstand push-ups. But Tia Toomey blazed through this event and earns yet another win here at the Rogue Invitational.
And it was just impressive fashion, the way that these two battled in the beginning. And that's one of the things that Sarah has done. She wasn't afraid to take that shot, but we know how dangerous those handstand push-ups could be. We saw what it did to Margot. We saw what it did to Laura Horvath. I mean, if you don't have it, it's going to smash you. You're not going to have a bad event. It's going to crush you. If you have them, you're going to be able to do great. And that's exactly what Tia did in this particular event in her heat. Very strong, very efficient on those snatches, using her entire body to get that weight up and over. Handstand push-ups were no big deal, and what a way to finish strong.
Tia Toomey at 6 minutes, 16.62 seconds with the win and 100 points. It gets one step closer to winning the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Rachel Garibay, her time is good enough for 8th. That's going to be her best finish of the competition, and it could not have come at a better time, as the two women behind her in the standings, Lauren Siever and Corinne Schrum, both finished outside the top 10. But let's send it down to Rory McKernan, who's with your event winner, Tia Toomey.
All right, we're going to stop practicing that celebration dance for a moment. I got to ask you some questions. We're rounding up. We're coming towards the end of the competition. What do you think of what you've seen so far?
Honestly, it's been an incredible event, and especially with the crowd. Rogue have just exceeded expectations, as they always do, and have put on a really, really good show.
Yeah, we haven't seen an event like this so far. You said the atmosphere is extremely important, so build on that a little bit.
Oh, the fact that every single one of these people in the crowd are cheering on every single athlete, and we're right here, they're just right in front of us, motivating us, obviously, to push ourselves to the absolute best, and no one can ask for a better crowd, so thank you so much, guys.
All right, Tia Toomey, thank you.
This crowd salutes Tia Toomey as she leaves the competition floor and looks to build some momentum as she heads to Madison, Wisconsin to try to become the first woman to ever win 3 CrossFit Games championships. The women are done with event 7. The men are up next here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. The 2019 Rogue Invitational is presented by Reebok. Reebok's newest Sport the Unexpected campaign celebrates those who defy convention and challenge the status quo. Visit Reebok.com to shop the latest collection. And by Rogue, strength and conditioning equipment that's built to last. We have moved from outside to inside here at Rogue HQ in Columbus, Ohio. This 600,000 square foot facility as we get set to close out the 2019 Rogue Invitational. 2 events remain for the men. We'll start with event number 7, the snatch and press. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Bill Grundler. Rory McKernan is down on the competition floor. And this event, like so many of the other sanctioned events in the CrossFit Games, do not happen without the volunteers. We want to thank everybody who has volunteered, not only at this event, but at all the other events that are taking place around the world this season, for all that you do. We know you work long hours and do a lot of back-breaking labor, and we certainly appreciate everything that you do in order to make sure that these events go off without a hitch. Here's where we are right now with the men's competition. After 6 events, Matt Fraser is pulling away from Pat Vellner. He leads Vellner by 76 points for first place. Chandler Smith has basically locked up the invite to the CrossFit Games as he sits in 5th place overall. For a while there, he was flirting with a spot on the podium. He's fallen off of that race a little bit, but man, what a result so far for Chandler Smith. Event number 7 is the individual snatch and press presented by RP Strength. 12-minute time cap, and it's the second movement that, at least for the women, really slowed some people down.
Well, definitely we see that regularly on the women, but I think we're going to see for some of the guys the same thing. A 4-inch strict deficit handstand push-ups. In a total, if you finish, it's 27. That's a lot after the 100-pound dumbbell snatches. 7
men in this first of 2 heats, and in lane number 8, it's Ben Smith, who has not had the competition that he would have hoped for when he showed up here in Columbus, Ohio. We are underway. 3 rounds of 20 dumbbell snatches at 100 pounds and then 9 strict parallel handstand push-ups with a 4-inch deficit. And, Ben Smith is kind of running out of time now to get himself back to the CrossFit Games.
Well, not kind of running out of time. I mean, we know that, and this is the thing, we know that he's come in or come off an injury. That's what, the issue was with the Open. That's what even he said, I'm not fully trained up. He's coming into here, but he's hoping he can kind of make his way in. But you're right, he didn't have the event that he wanted, and there aren't a whole lot of opportunities left. So this is going to be he's going to be faced with a very tough decision. We know that he's planning on doing the Granite Games. That's come up. That's coming up next week. But as far as what you have, other choices, just in case, or 2 weeks from now, just in case, I don't know. It's going to be tough. But he is the most competitive CrossFitter that we've had as far as time goes, and I'm glad to see him out here going for it.
Ben Smith continues to work his way through his first round of dumbbell snatches. Meanwhile, Jake Berman and Colton Mertens are done with their first round of dumbbell snatches and on to those 9 deficit handstand push-ups. There are 29 reps in each round, 87 total.
Okay, now if you are good at handstand push-ups like Colton Merton there in the blue shirt, that's what repping him out looks like. My gosh.
Well, Colton Mertens does have some games experience. He was on the CrossFit Kilo team that finished 19th last year at the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. Now, Colton is one of those guys who is vying for the invite to the CrossFit Games, but the deficit just looks like it's going to be too much to make up between him and Chandler Smith over these final 2 events.
Yeah, I'm really thinking that he wishes that this particular event was earlier in the weekend just to, be able to get himself a little bit more of a jump. But, that's kind of how it plays out. You got to do, if there's an event that plays to your strengths, you got to go for it. And he looks great here. I think it was also smart that he broke up those handstand push-ups. There's no reason to go unbroken unless you know that you can, on a regular basis, do 20 unbroken strict deficit handstand push-ups. That was smart to go 5 and 4.
Merton's working on that 100-pound dumbbell. That's Jacob Pfaff, who sits in 2nd place. And like Chandler Smith, Jacob Pfaff is a member of the U.S. Army CrossFit team. He is 6 reps back of Colton Mertens, who is through 41 of the 87 reps. Now Ben Smith, meanwhile, sits in 3rd in this heat.
Great movement by Ben. You can see him drop his hips. And this is a lot of things that we'll see for athletes in their home gym or at their regular box. You're going to see their butts up really high. You can see with Ben, chest is up, head is up, keeping that dumbbell nice and close to his body. Nice high elbow, and then dropping himself under that heavy dumbbell. So great movement still.
Colton Mertens is still on round 2 of his dumbbell snatches. 1 more rep, and then he will move back to the handstand push-up wall. Advances his dumbbell, and now 9 strict deficit handstand push-ups to close out round 2 for Colton Mertens. And Mertens' best hope right now to get to the games is that Chandler Smith does not meet the minimum work requirement in this event.
That's a pretty drastic example. I mean, that's his only shot. You're right.
So you're saying there's a chance. That's kind of what.
Saying there's a chance.
That reminds me of. But Mertens is going to keep fighting here, and a lot of these athletes who qualified to this event through the online qualifier, this is valuable experience on a big stage with.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Mertens continuing to work away, now through 57.
Wow. Now, I would
now
never.
58, and that's 2 rounds down for Colton Mertens.
And I would never suggest on a strict handstand push-up of any kind, deficit or not, to rest on your head, because that rep ends up being the hardest one ever. You're either resting with your hands locked out or you're off the wall.
Final round for Colton Mertens through 61 of those 87 total repetitions. Ben Smith has moved into 2nd place ahead of Jacob Pfaff. Jacob Pfaff is on the left, Ben Smith is on the right. Pfaff has been to the regionals 2 times, one on a team and one as an individual. He was 24th last year as an individual at the Pacific Regional. Ben Smith working his way through his 2nd round of 9 deficit handstand push-ups. The head judge coming over to talk to Jacob Pfaff about something. As Pfaff is about 2 reps behind Ben Smith. They are still on their handstand push-ups. Colton Mertens now through 71 of those 87 total repetitions.
Ben deciding to go to singles. Smart move. I mean, if you're not going to be able to knock them off, get off the wall. Get your rep, come off the wall, rest those shoulders. Time under tension is a killer.
Well, Ben Smith takes a look at where Colton Mertens is, and Smith will get right to work. And Smith's pace on the dumbbell has been a little faster than Mertens, but Mertens is just a couple reps shy of closing out this round. So 1 more to go for Colton Mertens, and then it's back to the wall for the handstand push-ups. 9 reps to go for Colton Mertens. Ben Smith solidly in 2nd place. 7 reps left for Mertens. Gets 2, takes a break. Mertens down to sets of 2, but that's just fine because he is all by himself in the lead as Ben Smith is in 2nd place and still on his 3rd and final round of dumbbell snatches. 2 reps left now for Mertens.
And I think this is a really smart move. The second you realize where you're going to be a little bit fatigued, come off the wall immediately. Get your recovery and then break down either 1 rep left or whatever. So fast singles, they can really do wonders.
And it works for Colton Mertens, and he will take heat number 1. And gets a hug from what I'm assuming is his family. 7:13.43. for Colton Mertens. Ben Smith now in second place with 9 reps left of handstand push-ups.
Wow. You know what? That was a fast turnaround. Just a straight walk back and immediately to the handstand push-up. That's good. I mean, you got to know your body. You got to know what you're going to do, and that's amazing that he was able to bust out too. I would have thought he would have dropped down to singles.
And now he will go down to singles. And you've talked about this before, but a no rep on a handstand push-up is so much different than a no rep on a movement like an air squat.
Oh my gosh. If you get a no rep, you're adding 30 seconds off of that 1 rep. And that's because you have recovery time now. You have the time that it took to actually do it and the workup time into that. So 1 missed rep can be very detrimental time-wise, and you need to be very aware. So it's almost in your favor to rest 20 seconds longer to make sure you get it. You're going to save 10 seconds on it every time.
So Ben Smith has 4 handstand push-ups left. And he is down to singles, but it is working for him as he chips away at this last set. And Jake Berman, meanwhile, will join Ben Smith and Jacob Pfaff on their 3rd and final round of deficit handstand push-ups. 2 reps to go for Ben Smith. The 2015 fittest man on earth putting up a good fight here as he gets through these final 9 repetitions.
One of the tough things about being an elite level athlete and coming back from injury, having any kind of time off, is you know what you're supposed to be acting like. You know what your normal competition speeds would be. When it's not there, it's really frustrating.
Well, Ben Smith will take 2nd in the heat, 9:29.26 seconds. And he will now have to focus his attention elsewhere as far as receiving an invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Jacob Pfaff and Jake Berman. Berman is on the right, Pfaff is on the left. They're fighting for 3rd place as we approach the 10-minute mark, and then 2 minutes to go before we hit the 12-minute time cap. Pfaff got a no rep. He's on the left. It looked like maybe his feet came off before he locked it out. So a costly no rep for him as Berman now moves back to the wall. And that rep will count for Berman.
You know, and something we haven't really talked about is the distance those parallettes are spread out. When you're in the open, when you're in those kind of competitions, you have a 32-inch spread. So you can kind of play with what that looks like. You don't get to vary the grip here. You don't get to pick what works best for you. You just have to go out and the parallettes are where the parallettes are.
So Berman has now 1 rep to go. And he's immediately back up there as he took a look at where Pfaff was. And Berman took a risk, and it's going to pay off as he will complete the rep. Actually, he did not. He got a no rep, so the gamble does not pay off for Jake Berman. Less than a minute to go now before we hit the 12-minute time cap. Pfaff and Berman just trying to get through this event inside the 12 minutes. And Berman makes that rep count, and he will get across the finish line just ahead of Jacob Pfaff. 7:13.43 is still, though, the best time. And that was Colton Mertens, who rifled through this event. Jake Fry is your leader on the floor. 20 seconds to go before we hit the time cap. Casper Gamelmark in the middle of your screen, who has already qualified for the CrossFit Games after finishing 24th in the Worldwide Open, is on his 3rd and final set of dumbbell snatches. 5 seconds. Heat 1 is finished, and Colton Mertens with his best performance so far in this competition. 7:13.43 seconds.
So just as it was in the ladies, it's the same for the men. It really comes down to those handstand push-ups. Nobody had a problem with the dumbbells. I mean, look at them snatching them over, no problem. But for Colton Mertens, look in there in the blue shirt, just like you said, rifling through those handstand push-ups. I think he could have gone more unbroken in the beginning. I think it was very smart that he didn't. He was able to hold that pace and break it down accordingly, but just super, super strong. Now, we talked about Ben Smith hasn't had the competition overall that he wants. I think that he did fairly well in this event, you know, considering moved the dumbbells well, handled himself on those handstand push-ups, but you can see just how dangerous this movement was and just how much it was affecting not just the women, but the men as well. That's a tough movement. 4-inch deficit, a strict, and you don't get to pick your grip. You are at the mercy of the competition.
Colton Mertens way ahead of everybody else in this heat. 7:13.43 seconds, more than 2 minutes faster than Ben Smith and Jacob Berman and Jake Pfaff in a great battle there for third place. Berman gets the best of that. Let's send it down to the competition floor. Rory McKernan is with the 2015 fittest man on earth, Ben Smith.
Sean, 2015 fittest man on earth and also the most consistent CrossFit Games athlete in terms of consecutive appearances. So Ben, I want for people at home to draw in this year, put it into perspective, because you've had some huge obstacles.
Sure. I guess I'm still trying to put it in perspective too. So I'm out here kind of testing where I'm at. I've had a couple good months of training, but I'm recovering a little bit from knee surgery I had in February. So it's been a difficult last couple months, but you know, I'm here and it's really fun to compete with these guys. The competition's awesome and it keeps getting higher and higher. So it's fun to be out here and test myself and see where I'm at.
Now this weekend's not going as you planned, so what's next?
Sure. There's the Granite Games competition coming up in a couple weeks. I'm planning on going to that and seeing how things go.
How important in your mind is your legacy going back to the CrossFit Games this year?
I mean, I'd love to go back, but it kind of is what it is. So if I don't make it back, I don't make it back, but I'll be back next year.
All right, we can't wait to see you try. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Smith.
Ben Smith will exit the competition floor, and the final heat will enter. Matt Fraser continues his victory march. He is your overall leader. He is in lane 5. And in lane number 3, Chandler Smith. It's been a great story so far in this competition. Came in just looking to earn the invite. Here he is now in the final heat with the big dogs. Event number 7, the snatch and press, presented by RP Strength. Dumbbell snatches, deficit handstand push-ups. Couldn't be simpler.
I'm just going to say deficit handstand push-ups. We might as well just call it deficit handstand push-ups. But across this field, I don't think we're going to see the same type of heats we have in the other ones. These guys have all done deficit handstand push-ups. They've all had experience with that. This is going to be a much faster heat than we've seen across the board.
Now, Pat Vellner comes into this event in second place. He's 76 points back of Matt Fraser, so probably not going to make that up. But Vellner was hanging on to the overall lead for a while and looking like he might be able to at least push Matt Fraser at the games.
Well, I think he showed himself that he can beat Matt when he needs to. But what's been real impressive is Cole Sager. And Cole is always in that eclipse position. That fourth, fifth, you never really see him, but he has had an amazing weekend. It's been really fun to watch him perform.
Cole Sager only 6 points back of Pat Vellner for second place overall as we get started. Final heat of event number 7.
So this is all about the shoulder balls. You need to conserve your shoulders. Be very aware of what you're using and how much you're using them. And then you got to plan ahead. Sure, it's great to be first to the wall and get to those handstand push-ups and be first after the first round, but it's not about the first round. It's about the third round. So plan ahead so that you know you have enough left in the tank to really be able to race that last round.
Matt Fraser on the left, Pat Vellner on the right, and Cole Sager middle of your screen. Those are your top 3 in the overall standings coming in. Chandler Smith is on the far left of your screen. He currently sits in 5th place overall and has all but locked down that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. And Smith is in the lead right now with Scott Panchik and Matt Fraser. He is on the lead pace in this initial round of 20 dumbbell snatches. There are 87 total repetitions in this event. Chandler Smith is done first, and he will head to the handstand push-ups. And remember, minimum work requirement, 1 complete round. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a problem for Chandler Smith, who's through 1 and now 2, as Matt Fraser is on the wall. And here comes Pat Vellner, and Fraser
Wow. Look at the way Matt's running through those.
I mean,
Holy
at a
cow.
frantic pace. And if it were anybody else,
Okay.
you'd say, wow, maybe you went
Okay.
out too hot. But for him, that's just business as usual. Fraser done with round number 1, flashes a smile to the crowd. And going full Thanos now on the rest of the field.
Man, you know, I mean, we've seen Matt do his deficit handstand push-ups in the games multiple times, and he usually is a little bit more conservative, especially when he has someone like Pat Vellner right next to him. Pat broke him. Matt did not, and he didn't look remotely bothered by that at all. It was like easy with that little smile and the grin to the crowd.
And Cole Sager has passed Pat Vellner, which is big because Sager's looking to work his way into second place overall. Chandler Smith, he got through his first round of handstand push-ups. And currently sits in a battle for third in this heat with Scott Panchik. And now on the right of your screen, Pat Vellner, now on to his second round of dumbbell snatches. Matt Fraser threw 42 of the 87 total repetitions. At 49, he will move back to the wall, 5 to go. Cole Sager taking a quick breather. Pat Vellner on the right of the screen is just trying to make up ground here and hang on to second place overall.
You saw Matt slow down just a touch. I think that's smart. You know, the last couple reps, bring the pace down just a little bit. So again, your recovery is easier on the walk back and get right into those handstand push-ups.
Fraser back to the wall for his second round of handstand push-ups. And he is all by himself. And once again, it's not really a question of how or if,
Wow.
but by how much. 76-point lead over Vellner coming in. That's going to get bigger as he continues to move at a very quick pace on these deficit handstand push-ups. Takes a look left and right. No one is with him right now. Now Cole Sager is through his second round.
Holy cow.
Fraser is done. Final round now for Matt Fraser. 29 reps to go.
And again, very aware of where he is. He knows how fast he's moving. He knows that these guys are going to be much stronger and faster than the people in the last heat. So using them as a tempo, look around, take a breather. No sense to go out crazy for no reason. Just all you got to do is win.
Colton Mertens has the top time right now at 7:13.43 seconds. But it's only going to last as long as Matt Fraser's out on the floor because he is looking like he's going to crush that mark. But Scott Panchik has just started his third and final round of dumbbell snatches. He's in the green top. And here comes Cole Sager, who is now in second place in this heat. Fraser needs to get to 78 before he will move his way back to the wall. Time to beat upper left-hand part of your screen. With 5 to go now for Matt Fraser. Here comes Chandler Smith on his final round of dumbbell snatches. Fraser in first in the heat, Panchik in second, Cole Sager's in third, Chandler Smith is in fourth, and Pat Vellner now on his final round. He's on the right part of your screen. Cole Sager was only 6 points back of Pat Vellner for second place overall. Sager looking to put himself right behind Matt Fraser on the leaderboard. Fraser's done, 9 reps to go. And gets right to work.
Look at that.
And Matt Fraser has yet to break. 2 to go. Dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Matt Fraser is inevitable as he takes yet another event and looking like he's going to win the Rogue Invitational. Scott Panchik trying to lock up second place in this heat and second place in the event, because Colton Merton's time of 7:13.43 is now the second best mark that we've seen. Panchik takes a break. He's the only man on his third and final round of handstand push-ups. Panchik with 3 reps to go. Chandler Smith and Cole Sager now are fighting for third place in this heat, and Vellner is moving his way back to the wall for his final round of handstand push-ups. Chandler Smith is there as well. But Colton Mertens is going to lock up second place. That'll be worth 90 points. That's huge for him. And Panchik is done. Panchik will take second in this heat. Sager and Chandler Smith on your screen right now. Smith fails a rep.
He just hit the wall right there. That's what it feels like.
That's the expression when you say, okay, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Travis Mayer, meanwhile, bottom right, looking to catch up on Cole Sager. With Chandler Smith, 4 reps to go. Cole Sager now with 1 to go, and Chandler Smith is hanging with the big dogs as Travis Mayer is in. Street Horner coming in. Noah Olson is in the red shorts. He's on the left of your screen. As Cole Sager comes across the finish line, he's looking to take over second place overall on the standings. And Chandler Smith, meanwhile, with 1 rep to go. That'll count. Chandler Smith keeps rolling along, and he might want to get ready to head to Wisconsin.
That's what it feels like when you fail. Like, oh, that's what happens. I get it. I get it. But what's very interesting to me is Pat Vellner. I already saw him fail, and he literally sat down on his haunches to take that rest. I mean, this is something I wouldn't expect someone with a gymnastic background to be struggling this much with the deficit handstand push-ups. I'm not saying it's an easy movement or gymnastics equals you're going to always crush that. But I've never seen him struggle this much with those handstand push-ups. We've seen him plenty of times in the games with this movement, and he does just fine.
Like Pat Vellner's now in danger of maybe falling out of the top 3 in the overall standing. Street Horner's already over the finish line, and he was in 4th coming into the event. Had a lot of ground to make up, but this is helping Street Horner's cause. So Vellner will lock that out, and he is in. And Pat Vellner will take 11th in the event. So he's going to get knocked out of second place by Cole Sager. 11th place is worth 28 points. Street Horner finished 5th. That's worth 64. So Street Horner will be knocking on the door as far as a spot in the top 3 is concerned. Now Rasmus Anderson, and as one of the bigger athletes, no surprise that he's still on the floor. The dumbbell not a problem for him, but
so deficit handstand push-ups.
As a member of the Clydesdale division, myself, strict handstand push-ups are not what we enjoy seeing, Bill. Rasmus Anderson competing as an individual here, but he will most likely be competing on a team when the CrossFit Games rolls around.
And I think it was really great what he was saying in the after the biathlon interview that he had, where he won that event. And Rowe asked him that question. He's like, we know you're going on a team. Why are you here as an individual? And he's like, because I couldn't turn it down. What this is the people that you get to compete with, the Legends division, being here at Rogue, what they've put on, he's like, I have to be part of it. So I'm just excited to see him out here.
Fellner and Fraser taking a picture with the fan. And now doing it again. And this is going to open the floodgates, I guarantee you. People are going to start running from all over to do this. I think the two of them just realized that and just walked to the middle of the floor. Erasmus Anderson, meanwhile, is back to the wall. He's only got 10 seconds to go before he hits the time cap. Cole Sager is trying to get the crowd behind him to at least get one rep here. And Anderson's going to go for it. So 3 seconds to go. And just can't quite lock it out. But Matt Fraser, I don't know how to describe it anymore other than just dominant and also expected at this point.
It's impressive to watch him handle every situation with absolute experience. I don't even say confidence anymore. It's his experience. He's just so good at winning, so good at knowing how to push himself and to really weed out the field around him. People try to catch him and they just can't do that. Chandler Smith had a nice run at the beginning, but what we saw, the fail that he had, he knows exactly what that feels like. But Fraser, there wasn't a fail at all. Decided to break when he needed to. Was able to actually look around and see where everyone was. Nice smile on his face. I mean, look at this. This is literally a walk in the park. It's not a competition. It's a walk in the park. And then being able to do that last set of the handstand push-ups unbroken. I mean,
Matt Fraser is inevitable.
Champion.
He has won 3 of the last 4 events now, and he is going to walk away with the win here at the Rogue Invitational.
If this is the practice for the games, he's doing exactly what he does.
Event results. Matt Fraser goes sub-7 by a mile, 6:09.76 seconds. Colton Mertens, his best performance by far of the competition, 7:13.43 seconds. And it's Scott Panchik who takes 3rd, and he is with Rory McKernan as we take a look at the rest of the standings. Let's send it down to the competition floor and Rory McKernan.
Thanks, Sean. Scott, we've got the Legends competition going on this weekend. You're a legend in your own right in the CrossFit Games competition. Here we are late, and you've got a fantastic finish. Tell me about this event, first of all, how it played out.
Yeah, the event went well. I stuck to my game plan and tried not to get too involved with what other people were doing, and it played out well for me.
Let's zoom out a little bit. At the beginning of the weekend, you said there was a completely different vibe here. You were enjoying it, and just now you said this is a great tune-up. What do you make of the entire weekend?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to just see where you're at leading up to the CrossFit Games. The athletes here, they're one of a kind, and the test is, each one of them has been unique in its own way, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the rest of the weekend.
And you're not the only Panchik brother competing this weekend. I heard that your brothers are doing really well.
Yeah, they went down to Brazil, and I think they took 2nd and 3rd, so I was really proud to hear they did well, and it's been a good weekend.
All right, one more event to go. Thank you, Scott Panchik.
Here are the updated standings. Matt Fraser has locked up 1st place with 1 event to go. He is 126 points ahead of Cole Sager. Pat Fellner holds on to 3rd, but Street Horner narrows the gap as he is just 22 points back of a spot in the top 3. And Chandler Smith still hanging out in the top 5. And soon that guy's going to be hanging out in Madison, Wisconsin. 1 event remains for the individuals. It's the squat clean ladder. Quick break. We'll be back to close out the 2019 Rogue Invitational.
Frosty, we stop pain, so pain doesn't stop you.
The 2019 Rogue Invitational is presented by Concept 2. Concept 2 is a family-owned business of athletes and fitness enthusiasts dedicated to providing innovative, high-performance training equipment. Concept 2 indoor rower, skier, and biker. By RP Strength, the advanced science of diet and training, customized to get you results. And by ROMWAD. Optimize your range of motion. Official partner of the CrossFit Games and the Rogue Invitational. Start your 30-day free trial at romwad.com/rogue. We are down to the final event here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational at Rogue Fitness HQ in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for being with us throughout this entire weekend, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. The women are up first for the squat clean ladder, the final challenge. We'll get to that in a second, but let's take a look at the standings where we sit coming in to this 8th and final event. Tia Toomey has the overall lead. Sarah Sigmundsdottir is 56 points back of her. Annie Thorisdottir, Catherine Davidsdottir, and Kristen Holta rounding out the top 5 as the podium has yet to be decided. We do know who is in the mix, and we do know who most likely is to receive the invite to the CrossFit Games. But now it's about sending a message for the women who will be advancing to Madison, Wisconsin.
And I think it's been very important to know that if the women that haven't qualified yet, they need to tell everyone, hey, I'm meant to be here. So I think that's what we'll see in Gary Bay. She needs to make a statement. But same thing between like Tia and Sarah. Sarah's on that warpath. She needs the people and Tia to know, I'm coming for you.
The final event of the 2019 Rogue Invitational. We have a whole bunch of barbells on the floor. It's the individual squat clean ladder presented by RP Strength.
And these are always such a fun event to watch when you see that clean ladder, but it's a little bit different. It's a squat clean ladder, and the weight increases as we decrease in reps. 5-minute time cap. This is going to be fast, furious, and very fun to watch.
Let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast team. He's been here all weekend with us doing the yeoman's work out there on the field, Rory McKernan.
Thanks, Sean. And Bill, this is something similar that we've seen in the past, but there's a twist here. I talked to Josh Bridges, who helped develop the workouts for Rogue Invitational. He said the weights are intentionally lighter. He wants everybody to finish, and it's also not bracketed because we want a dramatic finish. We want to see all the athletes get through. We want the winners to win.
Thank you, Ro. First of 2 heats here. Laura Horvath and Margot Alvarez in lanes 1 and 10. They did not meet the minimum work requirement in the last event. They are technically out of the competition, but they have been allowed to come out and compete in this event, although they will not be able to earn any points. Corinne Schrum came into the last event trailing Rachel Garibay by just 2 points for the invite to the CrossFit Games. She's going to have the performance of a lifetime here in order to get herself to Madison.
Yeah, I honestly, I really don't think it's going to happen, but for her, she needs to end on a positive note. She had a really rough event with those handstand push-ups. Now it's time to just clang and bang some weight around. I want to see if she can hold it together mentally.
And Lauren Seaver was another woman who is trying to get herself to the CrossFit Games for the first time in her career. 90 total points, and she had a solid open, 61st worldwide.
And again, Lauren Seaver, she looked great with those the dumbbell snatches, kind of working her way back up there. Again, she's not really in contention. You talk about an outside shot, but now it's just about having some fun. Get out there, throw some weight around, go home on a positive note, and come home, go home happy.
Final event of what has been just an outstanding weekend here in Columbus, Ohio, and we're looking forward to seeing the race that ensues here in these 2 heats. We are underway. 125 pounds on that first barbell. 10 reps.
Now I got to look at it. We have 30 reps total, so you don't want to do anything extra. Don't want to add any extra distance. You don't want to add any extra reps, so no reps. Also on these lighter weights, you don't have to stand up all the way, opening up your hip. If you can pull yourself under the bar and immediately get into the squat, that's going to save some time and some distance. Less work to be done. Also, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. What I mean by that there is usually in these ladders we see people jumping over the bar and tripping every single time. on these, put the bar down, push it to the ground, step over it, go to the next one. You don't want to have to work on getting up off the ground after a silly trip.
There are 30 total repetitions in this event, and the majority of the field here in the first heat is onto the second barbell. It weighs 145 pounds, and Corinne Schrum currently sits in 4th place in this heat. Katie Trombetta is in 1st place. She is halfway done with the squat clean. She is on the left of your screen. Brooke Haas is on the right. The two of them have already qualified for the CrossFit Games. Lauren Seaver sits in 3rd place in this heat.
And this is about the tempo that I would expect. That first set of 10, pretty quick. The next set of 8, there's going to be a little bit more thought to it. And as we get increasing towards the finish line, the tempo is going to slow down because the weights are going to get heavy. Now, I know that Josh Bridges said that they aren't overly heavy, which is true, but they're still heavy. And the fact is that after you've done 26 reps of some relatively heavy weight and have to go quote-unquote fast on some heavier weights, it's tough.
The leaders are on the 3rd barbell, 6 squat cleans at 165 pounds. Katie Trombetta threw 22 of the 30 total repetitions. She's in the green top, in the middle of your screen. Corinne Schrum in the all black. You saw before we started, basically has to win this event to keep her hopes alive of earning the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Brooke Haas now on the right of your screen has tied Katie Trombetta for the lead as they now have 4 reps to do at 185 pounds.
Actually, these two ladies are right. It's cool that they're right next to each other because they can really pace off each other. They know that they're in the lead, and they know just how fast they have to go. So both these women can decide, okay, do I need to push myself a little bit harder, or do I want to rest while I make my way to those final two reps there?
Trombetta and Haas to the final barbell, 205 pounds, 2 reps remain. Trombetta's going to miss that. Haas will hit hers. This is the battle for first place. Lauren Seaver now has also moved to the final barbell. Brooke Haas hits her 2nd and final rep, and Brooke Haas is going to take heat number 1. 3:19.60 seconds. Katie Trombetta now sits in 2nd place, trying to hold off Lauren Seaver. Now, Lauren Horvath, meanwhile, is not going to score any points here, but here's the dichotomy for her. The last event, she could barely do 1 rep, couldn't do 1 rep with a deficit handstand push-up, but you put her on a barbell, and this is what happens. Katie Trombetta is across. She'll take 2nd in the heat.
Well, the tough position for her is, this is the 2nd time that she's been knocked out of a competition or withdrawn from a competition, one of the two. And that's a mental tough deal. So I'm really hoping that she can kind of hold herself together. And I hope that her coach, Michelle Latondra, is able to hold herself together mentally as they make their way to the games.
Well, Horvath is done as in lane 2. In the blue is Colleen Lahane. Lauren Seaver just hit that lift. And we have a little more than 30 seconds to go before we hit the time cap. So Corinne Schrum obviously not going to win the event. And she is on the final barbell. And she can barely move that 205 off the ground. And Margot Alvarez is the reason the crowd is cheering. She just made her final lift, but again, her score in this event will not count. And this may be the final time that we see Margot Alvarez in a competitive setting, as we have now hit the time cap. So Corinne Schrum unable to finish the event, and that basically clears the way for Rachel Garibay, who can start making some travel plans to Madison, Wisconsin in August.
And the event was super fun to watch. Now, it wasn't as blinding fast as we've seen when we think the squat clean ladder in the games or something like that. That's usually because there's multiple heats, so it goes from really light to eventually really heavy. This had all that. You can see all these ladies deciding to go touch and go, or at least small sets at the beginning. And as we got progressively heavier, then it was like, okay, who had the barbell prowess? Brooke Haas had that. You can see her very confident, even on that last set of those 2 reps, able to sit down on the bottom, bounce herself out on both reps, very confident. Nice, strong lift, and what a way to finish. Great job by Brooke.
The Brooke Haas looking to save her best performance for last, as she now has the time to beat at 3:22.16 seconds. The 2 athletes who have qualified for the CrossFit Games finish first and second. We saw Margot Alvarez in that event, and she is with Rory McKernan.
Margot Alvarez, some high highs and some lows on the competition, but overall, what was your experience here at the Rogue Invitational?
Incredible experience, amazing event as their inaugural year. It was really well run. Obviously the community is amazing. You guys are amazing. Rogue is amazing. Katie and Bill, they run a very tight ship, and that leadership comes from the top. And I'm very honored to be part of the team and being part of this.
Speaking of the crowd here, you hyped them up for that last lift. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to channel, is the community has always pushed me, helped me push further than I think I'm capable of. And so rallying up reminded me of the deadlift at the games this past year, and having everyone come together helps me push a little more, so thank you all.
You have an invite to the CrossFit Games. You said you won't take that this year. Can we expect to see you back on the competition floor in the future?
Possibility of a team if there's an opportunity for that, but as an individual, I'm closing that chapter and focusing more time on the business and on golf, and specifically World Long Drive. But I know I'll always be a part of the community because the community has been part of me from the day one. So, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Margot Alvarez.
Margot Alvarez looking like she's going to give a souvenir to a lucky fan. She tosses her shirt into the audience. This crowd that has been so supportive of her, as she is clearly one of the more popular athletes in the CrossFit community. 6 appearances at the Games, said that she's done as an individual, but possibly might keep competing on as a member of a team if that opportunity were to present itself. Here's a reminder of what we're facing for the women. The individual squat clean ladder to close things out here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational.
It's that increasing weight of 30 reps, decreasing in reps overall. We saw what that last heat looks like. It's a fun one to watch.
10 women in this second and final heat. Rachel Garibay in lane 10, basically taking a victory lap here as she has wrapped up the invite to the CrossFit Games. You also want to keep an eye on lane number 1, Danny Spiegel. She can move some weight. .30 total repetitions. We start with 10 on the 125-pound barbell.
Look at the difference in technique here and style. Tia singles on the lightest weight, whereas Sarah's deciding to go touch and go. For Sarah, she's trying to push the envelope. Tia knows with her Olympic lifting background, she knows exactly how hard and what she needs to do. Plus, she's conserving for when it gets heavy. It's not about winning round 1 and 2. It's about being able to have enough gas in the tank on those heavier weights to really move through them without a long rest.
And she just has to finish 7th or better in order to lock up the top spot in the overall standings. Rachel Garibay, meanwhile, is going to be heading to the CrossFit Games as she will receive the invite to Madison, Wisconsin. And she is right up there with Catherine Davis-Daughter on the lead pace as they move to the second barbell, 145 pounds, 8 reps. Davis-Daughter threw 16 of the 30 total repetitions in this event, now 17. Garibay 2 back.
And we got to remember we have a total of 30, so that tempo is going to slow down just a touch as those weights are increasing. But you get a nice warm-up every round.
Catherine Davis-Daughter is trying to work her way onto the podium. She trails Annie Thorisdottir by 26 points for 3rd place overall. Davis-Daughter's your leader. We have just now 9 reps to go for her, but the weight is now starting to get significantly heavier. 6 reps they have to complete at 165 pounds.
And just like we talked about what Tia was doing in that first round with singles, someone like Sarah was going unbroken, touch and go. And who's sitting up at the top? Tia Toomey. Fancy that. There's so many CrossFitters that think they need to go out so hard and so fast to do so many unbroken. Save the energy for the later rounds. I mean, Tia is showing everybody out there that you don't have to go touch and go. Do them fast singles, and that will give you more energy on the back end of every event.
And now she only has 2 reps to go on the 185-pound barbell and 4 reps total left in this event. 322.16. The time to beat belongs to Brooke Haas. Did that in the prior heat. 1 rep left for Toomey at 185 pounds. Toomey is done with that. Now 2 reps remain at 205 pounds. She is clearly in the lead. And we talked about sending a message, and I think the message that Tia Toomey is sending right now is that you better bring your A game if you want to keep me from winning a 3rd straight CrossFit Games championship in Wisconsin. 1 down for Tia Toomey, 1 to go. As Sigmundsdottir hits her first lift at 205. Toomey back on the barbell. Toomey will hit that. Tia Toomey wins the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Davidsdottir will stand that up, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir has come across the finish line in 2nd place. Sigmundsdottir is going to hang on to 2nd overall. And she's celebrating with her mother, and I think we saw the birth of a new Sarah Sigmundsdottir here in this event. She looked dialed in all weekend long, and I know Tia Toomey won this event in convincing fashion as Rachel Garibay is across the finish line, but man, Sarah Sigmundsdottir could be a threat in Madison.
Could be a threat. Yeah, absolutely. If she can hold this sort of confidence and this drive and that level of focus, absolutely, which would be a fun race to watch.
They were competitors just seconds ago. Now they are friends as Toomey and Sigmundsdottir share a hug as Catherine Davidsdottir stands up 205 pounds, and she is in. Danny Spiegel also finished. She came in at 406.25 seconds. Annie Thorisdottir is across. Her boyfriend Frederick Agidi is there to congratulate her. Thorisdottir looking like she's going to stay in 3rd place overall. And Carrie Pierce, meanwhile, is on 185, and Brooke Wells is having some problems here on the final barbell. Christy Aramo is in.
And I'm a little shocked about that with Brooke not being able to get that off the ground.
10 seconds now, 7 seconds to go before we hit the time cap. Wells has got to hurry up. She hits it, but I don't know if she got across the finish line inside the time cap. There is no doubt that Tia Toomey did, as she will win the event with a time of 3:20.11 seconds. And she will stand atop the podium here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational, and she wins the final 2 events to do it.
And we knew that Garibay had the spot. She just had to contain herself in this event, but look how strong she looked. Touch and go right away. Catherine, trying to catch Annie, trying to have a better 2nd day in this event. And I think overall, I would say that she should be pretty happy with how today went. It was a great test for her. But Tia Toomey, just showing people how you're supposed to do events like this. It doesn't matter if you have a huge 1-rep max coming into an event here. It's about how you pace those, or how you tempo those reps all the way through. Deciding to go unbroken from the get-go was a perfect example of how this event should have been done. And man, handled it. Handled it.
And Tia Toomey will edge out Brooke Haas by just more than 2 seconds. So Haas with her best finish of the competition. Sarah Sigmundsdottir will finish 3rd. Trombetta is 4th, and it's Rachel Garibay on her way to Madison, Wisconsin. She finishes 5th. One woman is going to win the competition. That's Tia Toomey, but it's Rachel Garibay who earns the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games, and she is with Rory McKernan.
Rachel, sorry, we'll get out of the way here, the barbells. Congratulations on another fantastic event. I want some questions first. This year, you're going individual. Last year, you were on a 6th place team. Why did you choose to go individual?
Are you talking about last year? So sorry.
Why did you choose to go individual?
Why did I choose going individual? For 6 years, I've been doing individual competitions, especially at regionals. Last year was different. It was just a shot to the games. I knew I would automatically go as a team. But I think that I'll be doing both. You'll be seeing both. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that we can officially say now that after your performance here, you will be going to the CrossFit Games. You'll be an extended invitation from the Rogue Invitational. How does that make you feel?
I'm very excited. It is my first time making it to the CrossFit Games as an individual, so I'm very, very proud. Yes. I'm just overall emotional. I'm very happy. You know what? I don't feel as fit as I was in 2018, but hey, I mean, I still made it. Yes.
All right, we're very happy. Congratulations.
Great, so Garibay gets the invite. Tia Toomey gets $50,000 for winning the event.
That might just pay for her airline ticket
And
to make it to the games.
And by the event, I mean the 2019 Rogue Invitational. And she did it in impressive fashion by winning the last 2 events. She had 4 event wins out of 8. And now your 2019 Rogue Invitational champion is with Rory McKernan.
Well, Tia, so you are the champion of the Rogue Invitational. Looking back at the weekend, this was really a tune-up. You had some of the best athletes in the world. What are your takeaways? What do you do from now until the CrossFit Games to prepare?
So starting tomorrow, looking at my performance, seeing where I can improve on. There's definitely a lot of take-backs from this weekend. But I couldn't thank all my competitors enough for such an epic weekend. Thank you, girls.
Can I have some of the specifics? What are the takeaways? What will you be working on?
Everything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Tia Claire Toomey.
Tia Toomey is your champion for the women as she wins 4 of the 8 events here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. And we talked about sending a message here at the top. Tia Toomey sends a message that, like I said, bring your lunch pail. It's going to take all day to get me off the top of the podium in Madison, Wisconsin. Women are done. Men up next in the squat clean ladder, Columbus, Ohio. The 2019 Rogue Invitational is presented by Reebok. Reebok's newest Sport the Unexpected campaign celebrates those who defy convention and challenge the status quo. Visit Reebok.com to shop the latest collection. And by Rogue, strength and conditioning equipment that's built to last. The 2019 Rogue Invitational coming to a close. Just one event remaining for the men here. We really appreciate you being with us throughout this entire weekend. It has been a blast watching this competition and calling the action for you. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Bill Grundler. Rory McKernan is on the competition floor. And we're finishing up with a whole bunch of barbells on the floor. This event pretty much a formality at this point. Matt Fraser, as is customary for Matt Fraser, has already locked up the top spot on the overall leaderboard with one event to go. The battle is for the podium. Cole Sager, Pat Vellner, and Street Horner. 3 men alive for 2 spots. Meanwhile, the men who are not highlighted in a box were trying to get that invite to the CrossFit Games. That pretty much belongs to Chandler Smith at this point. 5 minutes, 30 reps, and the weight gets heavier as we go.
You know, and Josh Bridges, when he helped design this, said, I don't want it to be super heavy. So 305 pounds at 2 cleans is not all that big of a deal for this level of athlete, but it gets heavier as you go. So 30 reps, ending with 305. It's going to be a fun one. We saw what it looked like for the ladies. It's going to be fun for the guys.
It's the first of 2 heats. Jake Fry, Ben Smith, Jake Berman, Colton Burns, Dylan Martin, Gamelmark, and Pfaff all taking the floor for the last time here in Columbus, Ohio. We start with 10 reps at 185 pounds.
And I think we're going to see the majority of these guys opting to go singles. I think it's a smart move. You see Casper Gamelmark right there, a tall athlete going touch and go. I think that's a lot of extra energy. Ben Smith using that expertise and that knowledge. You know what? Singles. Be smart about the singles.
In the 2 heats we watched with the women, no one won the event on the first barbell.
No. I don't know why so many people think that. Just get through the first barbell. You have to remember that the first barbell is 1/3 of the work. Okay, we have 30 reps total, so don't blow yourself out on the first 10. Save it, make it so you're able to move all the way through, and I think that we'll see that with more of the experience level athletes. Just because they understand the race. It's not the first round. It's when you get into 3, 4, and 5.
Jacob Pfaff, Casper Gamelmark, and Colton Mertens are on to the second barbell, 225 pounds, 8 reps. Now Dylan Martin in the black shirt and the beard, he is on the 225-pound barbell. That's Casper Gamelmark. He will be going to the CrossFit Games. He finished 24th overall in the Worldwide Open, making his first trip to Madison, Wisconsin to compete. He will be representing Denmark. Colton Mertens working through his reps, and he had a tremendous performance in the last event. Finished second to Matt Fraser.
Moving the bar very nice, very easily.
At the 18 mark, they will move on to the 255-pound barbell, and Mertens is going to get there first. He's in the blue shirt, white shorts.
Oh, I don't know what happened there.
255 now, so this is where the race really starts.
There's magnets on my weight. I don't know what the deal was, but there was a little bit of shock. Now that's something that mentally can throw you, so you have to be really careful not to have things kind of derail you. If you think it's going to be heavy for whatever reason, now these are fairly decent-sized jumps, but if you think it's going to be heavier than you are aware, then that very next pull is going to feel extra heavy.
So Mertens and Pfaff are on to the 255-pound barbell. They have 6 repetitions they need to complete here, and we are now halfway through the 5-minute allotted time for this heat.
I have to say, I really like the way that this is programmed with the squat. It demands so much more from your body. I mean, when you have power cleans, you're just going to have people just doing whatever they need to do. But this really emphasizes the legs. And they've had that all weekend long. There's been a lot of legs in the programming this weekend.
Colton Mertens is your leader in this heat. He's on the bottom left. The men vying for second place right now are on the right. Casper Gamblemark in the gray shirt and black shorts, and next to him, now chalking up his hands, is Jacob Pfaff. Ben Smith, meanwhile, quietly moved himself into third place as he's working on the 255-pound barbell.
Looks good.
Mertens now. On the 285-pound barbell. And he has 1 rep to go. And then it's the 305-pound barbell. 2 reps on that, and then he will cross the finish line. 1 minute now to go before we hit the 5-minute time cap.
Nice lift
Mertens is through. The Colton Mertens won't be going to the CrossFit Games, but he saved his best performances for last year in these final 2 events. He's got to be happy with what he accomplished in the last event, and if he could win this heat, he'll certainly be happy with that effort as well.
Nice.
1 rep down,
Very
30 seconds
clean.
left. Ben Smith stepping up to the final barbell. He quickly gets to work, and Smith will get his first rep at 305. Mertens, as Jacob Pfaff barrels over his barbell. He is in. He's going to win the heat. Mertens is going to take second. Ben Smith with 10 seconds to go. He's going to have to hurry. Smith will hit that. I don't know if he's going to be able to get over the finish line. And he does with about a second to spare. So great finish for Ben Smith.
You know what? That's the way to finish. That's what he needed to finish out of this competition this weekend.
Certainly not the overall finish that he was looking for when he came here to Columbus, Ohio, but he does end on a positive as he gets inside that 5-minute time cap.
Well, hopefully he's able to use that good feeling like, okay, you know what? I'm still all right. I'm in the game. Be able to carry that momentum over to the Granite Games and have something special happen there.
Ben Smith walking off the competition floor. Colton Mertens was in the lead for a while, but it was Jacob Pfaff who overtakes him on the last barbell.
Well, and I really think that Colton Mertens right there in the blue shirt, he had his tempo set great for him. Wasn't resting a lot. Very nice movement, though. He had that one lift that it looked like he didn't know what was happening, or maybe it was too heavy, or he wasn't really expecting what the weight was. But overall looked great. Now, Ben Smith looked very calm, and we said he was silently creeping up, which he totally was. I was happy to see Ben have a good event there. I think that was really impressive. But Pfaff, what a way to finish. And it all came down to the last 2. He was able to cycle them together just a little bit more than Mertens. But there's that last lift by Ben, literally in the last second of the 5 minutes. Way to go, Ben. Way to finish strong.
The results for the first heat is Jacob Pfaff by 5 seconds over Colton Mertens. As the race comes down to the later barbells, Ben Smith will take third as only 3 men in that first heat get inside the 5-minute time cap. Here is the leaderboard with 1 event remaining. Matt Fraser's locked up first. 3 men, Cole Sager, Pat Vellner, and Street Horner, are all vying for 2 spots on the podium. And Chandler Smith in 5th place has already locked up the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
So we already know what it looks like. We've seen it a handful of times. We got 30 reps, and we got 5 minutes to do it. It's not blinding fast, but it's how you tempo it from the beginning. We've seen the ones that have done it right and then the ones that have done it wrong. I think we'll see a whole lot of who can do it right in this event, in this heat.
Final heat of the final event for the 2019 Rogue Invitational. 20 athletes on the floor. Matt Fraser be right in the middle as he looks to win yet another event. And he's already going to cash a check for 50 grand for winning the whole shebang here at the Rogue Invitational.
You know, he's kind of good. He's really kind of good at what he does. It's nice to see him. I love watching him when he doesn't need to excel. He excels, but look at him. He's still talking to himself, keeping himself in that fight, and he's not going to let it go. He's a competitor. That's what competitors do.
Here we go. Final heat of the final event in what has been a fantastic weekend here in Columbus, Ohio. 10 reps at 185 pounds to start things off. And that is Cole Sager, who comes into this event in second place overall.
And one of the
He's would really, I think, give himself some momentum heading into Madison if this holds.
He really has been shocking. I'd say the last year and a half or so with his CrossFit career, always seems to surprise us as he's doing what he's doing, because he's just so nonchalant about what's happening. And he's always hidden. It's like in that eclipse area of that 4th, 5th, 6th spot. You just don't see him, but he's always right at the doorway. But one thing I do want to note is across the board, I didn't see any one of these guys, any one of the 10 on the floor, go touch and go on any of that first set. They were all singles. I think it's telling some people something.
First 10 reps are down. Street Horner was the last man to complete the 185-pound barbell, and now it's 8 reps at 225. Scott Panchik is now through 13 of the 30 repetitions in this event. He's on the bottom left of your screen. Matt Fraser and Cole Sager on the upper right.
And none of these guys are having an issue at this bar. They're just trying to really conserve and contain themselves for those later 2 and 3 sets of bars.
Pat Velder is in 3rd place, and he is 22 points back of Sager for 2nd. That is a deficit he could certainly make up with a strong performance here. And he now steps up to the 255-pound barbell. 6 reps on this one, and Pat Velder is in a fight for the lead right now with Scott Panchik and Matt Fraser. Cole Sager is 1 rep back.
And one of the most exciting things about having a gymnastic background for a lot of these CrossFit athletes are they may not be known, quote unquote, for their lifting ability, but look at last year at the games at the CrossFit Total. Pat Velder, I wouldn't have picked him to be a gigantic, super strong lifter, but because they can move so fast and so well, that's what keeps him moving. And this is putting him up, they're keeping him up in the lead here on this clean ladder.
And Scott Panchik in the bottom left. He is in that fight for the lead with Pat Velder, Matt Fraser, and Cole Sager. They are all in the upper right. Velder done first, and he moves on to the 285-pound barbell. 6 reps remaining total. He has 4 on this barbell, and here comes Matt Fraser, Scott Panchik as well. And Cole Sager still has a rep left at 255. So Matt Fraser has already locked up first place. Patrick Velder, meanwhile, might be able to leapfrog Sager for 2nd. Two reps remaining for Velder, Panchik, and Fraser on the 285-pound barbell. Now Fraser with just 1 to go. Velder will hit his lift. Panchik also with 1 to go on this barbell. Fraser's done with that barbell, and he will step up to 305. 2 reps remaining. And that is 1 down for Fraser. Panchik, meanwhile, this would be his 2nd successful lift. Panchik's going to hit it, and Scott Panchik will win the event. Matt Fraser will take 2nd, but he is your 2019 Rogue Invitational champion. Who will join him now on the podium? Velder, he is done, and Pat Velder is across the finish line, and he's ahead of Cole Sager. So Velder will take 3rd in the event. That's going to be worth 80 points. Travis Mayer is in. This is good news for Velder. Noah Olsen is done with his first attempt at 305. Willie George is across the finish line, so it's looking like Pat Velder might leapfrog Sager for 2nd place, because now some of the times in the first heat are starting to factor in. Olsen is done with about 17 seconds to spare. And Sager's still on the floor. So is Street Horner. So Sager might be able to hang on to 3rd and keep a spot on the podium. And neither one of them is going to finish. So it looks like Pat Vellner will take second. That man, once again, will finish first. But how about Scott Panchik? His best performance of the competition as he locks up the event win.
And that was old school Scott Panchik right there. I mean, we've seen clean ladders and snatch ladders and all the different ladders, and he always does so well. And what a way to finish out the weekend for him. But real impressive. Not one athlete decided to go touch and go. They all went singles. I think that was from watching everyone else all the way through. But Scott Panchik, look at these reps. Every single one of them, as he made his way from bar to bar to bar, looked the same. It didn't look like the weight was that heavy. There was maybe a little extra rest in between, but you could tell even with some of the other athletes, when Pat Vellner was moving his way through, he looked good up until this first one. This was the first weight where all of a sudden it looked a little heavy. Not that he did a bad job of it, but that was the first time it looked like there was actually some weight. Matt Fraser, I didn't see that at all. Look at that, just confidence coming out of the hole. Amazing.
And then the final barbell, and that's where Scott Panchik won the race.
Look at that. And I think Scott, he looked over, he's all the way on the far end. He saw that Matt took it down and stepped away, and then Scott stepped up to the bar, grabbed that last rep. Yeah! Experience right there. That's old school experience.
Scott Panchik, one of the most consistent CrossFit Games athletes out there. And he will be heading back to the games once again this year after finishing 11th in the Worldwide Open. But first event win of the competition, 3:42.94 seconds. He edges out Matt Fraser. Pat Vellner will take third, earn 80 points, and it looks like he's going to finish second overall to Matt Fraser. Willie Georges, who was impressive last year in his games debut, the French national champion, he's heading back to the CrossFit Games for the second time. But Pat Vellner is kind of in a familiar spot, and that's second to Matt Fraser. And I don't know what he can do to change that.
You know what? I think the thing with Pat is he's the only one that can push Matt right now. He has the ability. There's a couple spots that when he doesn't excel, it's just not enough to keep him up in that realm. But there's not a lot of holes, and I wouldn't even call them holes. I'd call them dents. The problem is you can't have a dent with Matt Fraser. He's just too good at everything, and he never has an epic fail. Never has an epic fail.
We are ready to announce the winners in all the divisions here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. So let's send it down to the competition floor.
All right, you guys, we got a couple of announcements. First, we want to announce the winner of the first inaugural Rogue Invitational. You know him, you love him. Give it up to Matt Fraser. Taking home $50,000 to boot. Matt Fraser, ladies and gentlemen. We'd also like to make an announcement on who is earning their ticket to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Their invitation coming in compliments of the Rogue Invitational. Give it up to Chandler Smith! Earning his very first trip to the Reebok CrossFit Games. One more big round of applause. Chandler Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
I tell you, we were wondering what Chandler was going to be able to do. We watched him throughout. I love the fact that he was talking about how he didn't know if he should be there or not. This should tell him, hey, you need to be here. You deserve to be here. And now you get your chance to be here, shoulder to shoulder with these big dogs. So great show for him this weekend.
And he does it on a big stage here at the Rogue Invitational. They have been fantastic hosts, and this is a company that started in Bill Henniger's garage 13 years ago, and now they occupy 600,000 square feet and employ more than 600 team members, and they put on a first-class event. And let's send it down to Roy McKernan, who is on the competition floor.
Chandler, first let me say congratulations to you. I can only imagine that you're feeling very, very proud at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact I'm standing here talking to Rory McKernan, I'm next to Matt Fraser, like, I think there's moments before this where I was like, okay, I'm not going to freak out anymore. Like, it's normalized being good at this, but this whole weekend kind of reiterated that I'm still not used to it. I'm still freaking out a little bit. So hopefully I don't walk backwards into the games again, but it was good to get the opportunity to finally make it.
When I spoke to you earlier on the field outside, you said it's time to start training for Madison. What did you learn with the best athletes on the face of the earth that you need to work on before you get to Madison?
Everything.
Come on, give me something else.
Cleans. What did we do today? Everything we did today. So how about that?
All right, it's a fantastic performance. Congratulations on your games debut. Ladies and gentlemen, Chandler Smith. But then we've got the champion of the 2019 Rogue Invitational, Matt Fraser, a tremendous performance. Let's celebrate this last event. You were having a laugh with Scott Panchik. He edged you out at the line. What were you saying to him there?
I had a bit of a bet going with Tia backstage, and she said she had 4 event wins, and I only had 3 coming into here. So I said, all right, I'm going to even it up. And I thought I had an event win. I looked up at the leaderboard and saw Scott Panchik above me. So I didn't even realize he was in the mix. You know, I was paying attention to Bellner and Cole. Crowd was too loud to hear anything else going on. So, yeah, you know, good for him. Great time. We all pushed on the last workout.
That's un-Matt Fraser-like to not know that he was there. I thought you'd be looking at the screen. So, taking a look back at the weekend overall, I know you said you were here for fun. It's a little bit lower stakes because you already had your ticket to the games, but you're very analytical. What are your takeaways for the weekend before you get to Madison?
You know, day one, I had a laundry list of mistakes. So just from day one, I have enough to train for the next 3 months. But you know, I had a handful of mistakes today, stuff I want to work on, different disciplines I want to get better at. So you know, I got to go back to the drawing board and get to work.
Well, you've got a couple of months, but congratulations on your victory. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Fraser.
The last time Matt Fraser finished outside number 1 in any CrossFit event that wasn't the Open was the 2015 Reebok CrossFit Games. What a fantastic weekend, though, this was.
Oh, man. It was just, the whole thing was amazing. You have the depth of field, the names that were here, the Legends event. They could not have put on a better event. Great job to Rogue and Bill Henniger and Katie Henniger. Amazing. I'm absolutely blown away by the weekend.
It has been an absolute blast here in Columbus, Ohio. Want to thank Rogue. They have been fantastic hosts and put on a first-class event. Want to thank all the volunteers and all the fans for showing up. And definitely want to thank our hard-working crew here who put in some long hours to bring this event to you. For Rory McKernan, Bill Grundler, and our entire team here in Columbus, Ohio, I'm Sean Woodland. Thanks for joining us at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Stay tuned for the awards ceremony.
We are just a couple minutes out from the award ceremony, just a couple more minutes. It's hot off the press. They're bringing it over, and then we can start here in just a couple minutes, guys. Thanks.
Good. Thank you.
All right, everybody, welcome to the awards ceremony. It is done. We made it. What an incredible weekend. Thank you for coming out to the beautiful campus, the international headquarters of Rogue Fitness. And before we get to our awards, we definitely want to thank our partners for coming together and helping make this possible. We've got Reebok, Romwad, Concept 2, and RP Strength. And thanks to all the vendors who came out to support the crowds with their great products and services. Obviously, the community, it takes a village, and the vendors came out to fill it for you guys. Let's give a big round of applause and special thanks to our amazing family of volunteers. This event would not exist without them. We couldn't do anything without our volunteers. So a heartfelt thank you for your tireless work, long hours, and dedication. We deeply appreciate it. And let's go ahead and put our hands together for the community members as well. You guys coming in. We had a big group of international attendees. Tons of people coming from out of state, and then Columbus, the locals were coming in hot as well. We also want to give a shout out to Bill and Katie Henniger. What up, girl? Katie Henniger over here for making it all happen. Bill on the opposite side, right over there in the Navy. You know, Margot said it best, leadership from the front, and those two are stellar individuals and put on all this together for us. All right, now on to the athletes. We saw some incredible performances, did we not? Before we give out the awards, can I get one more big round of applause for all the athletes, legends, teams, individuals. Only Rogue Fitness could pull this off. And we also want to recognize those who will be getting invitations to the CrossFit Games from the Rogue Invitational. Without further ado, please welcome Rachel Garibay and Chandler Smith. Come on over here, buddy. We don't have a podium for you, but you definitely get to stand up here earning your right. One more big round of applause. We'll be seeing them at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. All right, on to the teams. Taking home third place with 558 points, they had one third place finish in the tug of war and 3 second place finishes. Please put your hands together for CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Down the line. Hey guys. Andre Strom, Tasia Persevich, China Cho, and Rich Froning, that other one on the team right there. One more big round of applause. Hey, yo. Second place is going to the team who had 588 points on that leaderboard. They had 1 third place finish in the C2 medley. They had 2 second place finishes and 2 first place finishes in the chipper and the snatch and press. Please welcome CrossFit Invictus Back Bay onto the podium. Getting dressed up for the occasion, I like it. One more round of applause for CrossFit Invictus Back Bay. Taking home first place with 640 points. They had 3 third place finishes and 4 first place finishes. They finished first on the Go Ruck, the Mule, the C2 medley, and that tug of war. Put your hands together for CrossFit OC3. and Luke Taylor. And Andrea making their way onto the podium, the top spot. A check to go with them for $20,000 to the team champs. One more big round of applause for all three of these teams. CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, CrossFit Invictus Back Bay, and OC3. Okay guys, moving right along, we are gonna go on to Legend Women winners, the Legends. In third place with 304 points, she had a second place finish in Amanda, took a first place finish in the biathlon. Her home box is CrossFit Santa Cruz Central in Santa Cruz, California. Please welcome one of the original Nasty Girls, Andy Sakamoto. Keep coming, girl. Right down there. Taking home second place with 350 points. She had 4 second place finishes in the Go Ruck, Amanda, Biathlon, and the Cyclone. Home box, CrossFit Training Yard in Granada Hills. Please welcome Becca Boyd Miller. She also has the infamous stat of 11 CrossFit Games appearances, 10 as an individual, 1 as a Masters. She took third place in 2017, 7th place finish in 2008, 2010. I just feel like I could go on forever and ever. Rebecca Boyd Miller. The top spot, 372 points, 3 first place finishes in Go Ruck, Amanda, and the Cyclone. Please welcome the Engine Sam Briggs, joining us from CrossFit Black 5. Another round of applause for Sam Briggs, Becca Boyd, and Annie Sakamoto. Now for the fellas. In third place with 310 points, he had a second place finish in the Go Ruck and a first place finish in Amanda. His home box, CrossFit Columbus, right around the corner. Welcome, Dan Bailey. Oh, hey. 334 points is what's going to take home second place. He had a second place finish in the biathlon and took a first place finish in the Go Ruck. Out of 11th Element, CrossFit Hilliard in Columbus, Ohio. Give it up for Graham Holmberg! Hometown heroes right here. The top spot, 340 points. He had 3 third place finishes in Go Ruck, Amanda, and Biathlon. He had a first place finish in the Cyclone. Out of NC Fit in San Jose, California, welcome Jason Kalipa! This big dog had a third place finish at the games in 2014, a second place finish in 2013, a first place finish in 2008, maintaining all the fitness right there. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Kalipa. There we go, Jason Kalipa. right, getting those photo ops. On to the individual women. Taking third with 492 points, she had 2 third-place finishes in the chipper and the cyclone, 1 first-place finish in the mule. She's joining us from Reykjavik, Iceland, out of CrossFit Reykjavik. Give it up for Annie Thorsdottir! There you go, Annie Thorsdottir. These athletes need little introduction at this point in time. Taking home second with 620 points. She had 4 third-place finishes in the Go Ruck, Mule, Amanda .25, Squat Clean Ladder. She had 1 second-place finish in the Squat Clean Ladder. We're gonna double-check my stats. And she had 2 first-place finishes in the Chipper and the Cyclone. Please welcome Sarah Sigmundsdottir. Sarah Sigmundsdottir, ladies and gentlemen. There can only be one athlete who gets to take the top spot on the podium, and she did it with 696 points. She had 2 second-place finishes in the chipper and biathlon. She had 4 first-place finishes, the Go Ruck, Amanda .25, snatch and press, squat clean ladder. She's joining us from CrossFit Mayhem out of Cookeville, Tennessee, Tia Claire Toomey. She's also claimed that title, fittest woman on earth, a couple of times. She's got a thing about hugs. Tia Claire Toomey, ladies and gentlemen. A big round of applause for your 1, 2, and 3 for the women's individual. Annie Thorsdottir, Sarah Sigmundsdottir, and Tia Claire Toomey. With 50 G's. Hey man, not a bad day at the office. Your 1, 2, and 3, ladies and gentlemen. And now for our individual men. Taking third place with 524 points. He had 3 third-place finishes in the chipper, Amanda .25, and cyclone. He had a first-place finish on the Go Ruck. Please welcome Cole Sager. There you go. Taking home second place with 554 points. He had 1 third-place finish in the squat clean ladder. He had 2 second-place finishes in the Go Ruck and Amanda .25, and he had a first-place finish in the mule. Joining us from CrossFit Solid Ground in Ontario, Canada, give it up for Patrick Fellner! Pat Vellner giving the high fives. Pat Vellner, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And last but certainly not least, 712 points is what took home first place. He had 1 third-place finish in the Go Ruck. He had 2 second-place finishes in the biathlon, the squat clean ladder, and he had a first-place finish in Amanda .25, cyclone, snatch, and press. He's got a few games appearances under his belt. Give it up for Matt Fraser! All right, you guys, let's give a big round of applause to Matt Fraser, Cole Sager, Pat Vellner, also earning himself $50,000. You guys, that is an official wrap here from the inaugural Rogue Invitational. Big round of applause to all of our podium finishers. We hope you had fun. We sure did. And we'll see you next year, you guys. Have a good night. Get home safe.